Your dad is at the pharmacy right now, or the hardware store, or the barbershop, somewhere ordinary, somewhere that has nothing to do with you. And the person next to him, the cashier, the man waiting in line, the woman at the counter said something small. Maybe they mentioned their own kid. Maybe they just asked how he was doing. And your dad said your name. He said what you do. He said where you live. He said something you told him 3 months ago, a thing you barely remember mentioning, and he repeated it like it was news he'd been holding on to, waiting for the right person to hear. He doesn't do this dramatically. He doesn't make a scene. He just mentions you the way some people mention the weather, naturally, completely without thinking. The cashier nods, moves on, forgets the conversation before they've bagged the last item. Your dad drives home. He doesn't tell you about it. It doesn't occur to him to. He doesn't think what just happened was remarkable. He does it all the time. You have no idea. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you changes the way you hear every silence between your calls. Most of us assume we know how our fathers feel about us. He loves you, he's proud of you, he'd do anything for you. You know this not because he says it constantly, but because he's your dad. It's assumed, baked in. You stopped needing to verify it a long time ago. And that assumption isn't wrong, but it's incomplete in a way that most people never discover until it's too late to do anything about it. Here's the thing nobody tells you about fathers who aren't particularly expressive. They're not unexpressive. They've just found a different audience. Your dad might not be the kind of person who calls just to say, "I'm proud of you." He might not leave long voicemails or say, "I love you," without it being a response to you saying it first. He might seem, from the inside of your relationship, like someone who keeps his feelings close. But somewhere, at some point in the last week, he told someone about you. Not because he was asked, because he couldn't help it. There's a specific kind of love that doesn't know how to flow toward the person it belongs to, so it flows outward instead, to strangers, to neighbors, to the person sitting next to him at the waiting room who will forget the conversation before they leave the parking lot. He tells them about what you've built, what you've survived, what you're still building. He tells them about something you did, you know the thing, and he shakes his head like he still can't quite believe it. He tells them like he's the luckiest man in the room, because in that moment, he genuinely believes he is. Here's the question I want you to sit with for a second. When was the last time you told someone about your dad the way he tells people about you? Think about what he actually says. He gets specific. He doesn't just say, "My kid is doing well." He says the job title, the city, the project, the thing you're working through right now. He has it memorized in a way you probably don't have him memorized, and that asymmetry is the quiet heart of this whole thing. The cashier doesn't need these details. The neighbor doesn't need them. Your dad gives them anyway, because they aren't really for the cashier or the neighbor. They're proof. They're the evidence he carries around that his love produced something worth loving. Every parent holds a version of their child's story. But your dad has been refining his version of your story for 30, 40, 50 years. He has details in there you've long forgotten, chapters about you that you'll never read. And he shares them with strangers because the alternative is keeping all of it entirely to himself. Now, here's the part that's harder to sit with. The reason he doesn't say it directly to you, not usually, not as often as you might need to hear it, isn't distance. It isn't that the feeling is any smaller when you're in the room. It's something more complicated than that. He doesn't want to be a burden. He's watched you grow up. He's watched you become independent. He knows you have a full life that doesn't center on him, and he has decided quietly, without making a production of it, that this is exactly what he wanted. His job was to raise someone who could leave. You left. He calls that a success. But success can be a lonely thing to be the author of. You spent decades working towards something, and the result is that the person you built your whole life around has a life that no longer revolves around you. You wouldn't change it. Not for anything. But you feel it. So the pride goes elsewhere, to the pharmacy, to the barbershop, to the stranger who says, "Sounds like you raised them right," and means it as a throwaway, but your dad will hold on to that sentence for the rest of the afternoon. If you have a brother or a sister watching this with you, send this to them. Some conversations need a starting point. Here's something worth stopping on. There are people in your father's world, people you will never meet, people whose names you'll never know, who have heard your name more than some of your closest friends. The man who cuts your dad's hair knows you went through something hard a few years back and came out the other side. The woman at the diner knows your job title. The neighbor down the street knows what city you live in, how often you visit, and probably that it's been a while since the last time. These people carry small pieces of you, not because they sought them out, because your dad couldn't stop giving them away. That's the word for what he does. He can't stop. Not because he's lonely though, sometimes, quietly, he is. But because you are the thing he is most proud of in his life. And pride that size doesn't stay contained. It has to go somewhere. It goes to everyone. Except you. As his world gets a little quieter, fewer reasons to drive across town, fewer friends who are still around, fewer things pulling him in different directions, what fills the space is memory. And memory, for a father, is mostly you. The version of you he carries isn't just the one you see in the mirror today. It's every version all at once. The kid who fell off the bike, the teenager he didn't always know how to reach, the young adult who moved away and didn't look back and wasn't supposed to. The person you are right now, building something he brags about to people you'll never meet, he holds all of it. And there's a particular kind of ache in that, not grief exactly, more like a fullness with nowhere to empty. He keeps telling strangers about you because strangers are still listening. He doesn't know you need to hear it too. None of this is meant to make you feel guilty, but it probably does. That's okay. That feeling is telling you something true. You don't need to do anything grand. You don't need to write him a letter or plan a big trip or have a conversation about feelings that neither of you knows how to start. You just need to call him this week, not in 3 weeks. And when he asks how you're doing, tell him something real, something specific, something he can carry, because he will. He'll hold on to it and take it somewhere you'll never see. And then ask him how he's doing, not the surface version. Ask about the thing he mentioned last time. Ask about his week, the specific way he asks about yours. Let him tell you something. Let him be interesting to you the way you are interesting to him. He is already telling the world about you, every week to people who will forget by Tuesday. You still have time to be the person who makes sure he knows you're listening. You still have time. If this video moved something in you, something you've been meaning to feel, there are more here. Subscribe, and we'll keep making them. Take care of each other.